Uh, Dear students, let us start with a new topic, that is the classification of phylum Mollusca. Now, there are seven classes: Aplacophora, Polyplecophora, Monoplacophora, Gastropoda, Scaffopoda, Pelycopoda, and Cephalopoda. Class 1, Aplacophora is also called as Solenogasters. A means absent, Greek word A means absent, and pleco is derived from the plex word, which means plate, and phora is derived from pherin word, which means bearing. That means not bearing plate. Plate here means the shell, because the shell is absent. So this class is called Aplecophora or Solenogasters. Head, mental, foot, shell, and nephridia are absent. All these things are absent. Examples are pneumenia. Here I have shown you the pneumenia, lepidomenia, ketoderma, and prochytoderma. Then the class second, Polyplecophora. So Polyplecophora means when it is having many plates. So many plated shell, you can say. Like here you can see there are so many plates of the shell. Head, mantle, foot, shell, and nephridia are present, and shell composed of longitudinal series of 8 dorsal plates. So you can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is why it is called poly. Poly means many, pleco means plate, phora bearing. So chitin is example and lepidopleurus is example. This is the chitin, you can say. Then you are having the Monoplacophora. Class 3 is Monoplacophora. Mono means single and placo means plate. Phora bearing, that means single plate bearing. Here the body is covered over by a single plate, and body of the Monoplacophora is dome shaped because they have the visceral organs present carotid on the dorsal side. So mental is present on the dorsal side. Accordingly, shell is also present on the dorsal side. So they are giving a dome shaped appearance. And shell composed of single piece or valve. So only one shell is present. It doesn't have two parts. Head, mental, foot, shell, and nephridia are present. Example is neoplenia and glethi. Then you are having the fourth class, class gastropoda. Gaster means belly, poda means foot. It is so called because it has a broad, flat, muscular foot present just below it. It looks like as if it is present below the belly. Body is spirally coiled and asymmetrical. So we will look at into the next subclasses of gastropoda where we will look the spirally coiled body, and asymmetrical cannot be divided into two equal halves. Head, mental, foot, shell, and nephridia are present. Univalve spirally coiled shell. So the shell is univalve. Foot flat, flat foot, and is present on the ventral side. Is muscular also and is meant for creeping, and is often covered by a hard dorsal piece, the operculum on its posterior end. So sometimes what happens that they have a lid-like structure which covers the foot, and when it wants to creep on the ground, then the lid or the operculum is taken on the side, and the foot is extracted outside. It has three subclasses. This is the subclass 1, Prosobrankia. So also called as Streptoneura. Prosobrankia. Branchia means related to gills. So because the the gills along with the mental cavity and the anus are present on the exterior side, and they have undergone torsion. Torsion, you can see, you can look at this. Head is also there, foot is also there. Rest body part is torted over it. So this is the torsion, that is twisting of body. And you can look at the spirally coiled body is there. It is because of the twisting about at 180-degree, you can say. And they are giving you a shape of U because it is head, it is foot, so it is U shape body, you can say. Look at this picture. This is uh, the upper column, you can say. The foot is taken inside, and when the foot is when the animal wants to take the foot outside, the upper column is removed, and rest this is the shell, and this is coiled shell. Examples are pila. This is the example of pila. This is the pila having shell, and after removing the shell, you will look at this type of structure. So the operculum is also uh, the whole of these organs. You look at this head as well as the foot. It will taken outside after removing the cover of this very opening called the operculum. Then you are having the subclass Opistobranchia. Opistobranchia is naked. Naked means without shell. It is also torted on the dorsal side, or sometimes it may not be torted, but gills are present posterior to height. That is why it is called Opistobranchia. Gills present on the posterior side. Example: bulla, aplysia, caliona, doris, etc. This is the picture of aplysia. Then the subclass third, Pulmonata. Pulmonata, mostly terrestrial organism that you might have seen in your horses as well. Uh, Mental cavity is modified into pulmonary sac or lungs. So, because its mental cavity is performing the function of lungs and gills are absent, so it is called as pulmonata. Pulmonary word is always associated with the lungs, so here the word is pulmo. Example is limnia, Planorbis, helix, limex, etc. This is the helix. Then the fifth class is the class Scaffopoda. Scapho means board, poda means foot, because the foot is conical and the conical shape is always resembled with the board. Body is elongated and bilaterally symmetrical. You can look at this elongated body and tusk-like shell opening at both the ends. You can compare it with the tusk of the elephant. It is exactly like that. The shell is having such type of feature, having both the ends have it has the openings. Foot is conical, reduced and used for digging. Example is dentilium, and this is the picture of dentilium. Then comes the class 6, Plechipoda. Plechipoda is also called as bivalvia, also called as lamellibranchia. Uh, Greek word pelikis means hatchet and podos means foot. That is, foot is hatchet shaped. Hatchet shaped means uh, light, short-handed axe like. So as you have the axe, short-handed axe, its foot is of that shape, so it is called as Pelecypoda. Uh, no distinct head, but mental, foot, and shell nephridia are present. Shell consists of two lateral halves. That is why it is also called as bivalvia. It is having the two lateral valves hinged together mid-dorsally. You can see this is the one lateral valve. This is the other lateral valve, and then it is jointed with the help of the hinge, as your doors are jointed with the hinge. Foot ventral, muscular, which is pluff or hatchet shaped. So its name is Platypoda. Example is Myticus, Pectin, Ostria, Unio, Venus, Terido. Then comes the seventh class, Cephalopoda. Greek word kephale. Cephalo is derived from the kephale, means head, podas means foot. That is foot altered into a series of sucker-bearing arms or tentacles encircling the mouth, thus forming a tuber siphon. Because mouth is present on the head region, and here its foot are also encircling the mouth, so you can say the foot is present on the head, or likewise its name is cephalopoda. Here you can look at this picture. These are its foot with the suckers, and the mouth is present inside it, so they are encircling it. So both head and foot are present at the same position. Head with eyes, you can see this is the head having eyes, but the tentacles are present on foot. The tentacles are present on the foot, they are not present on the head. Shell spiral, uh, external or internal are absent. So all types of shell are present there. So it is having three subclasses. Number one, subclass Belemnoidea or Dibranchiata, because it is having two gills, so-called Dibranchiata, two kidneys, two auricles, and two branchial heart. So its name is Di. Example is Sepia loligo octopus. Rest feature I have already shown you that it is having mouth inside it and circled by the its these tentacle-like features coming out from the foot region. Uh, then you are having the subclass 2 Natuloidea or Tetrabranchiata. Uh, it is having four gills, so the name is Tetra, four kidneys, and four auricles. Example is Nautilus. And then the subclass Amnoidea. Amnoidea is the subclass whose animals are not present. No, they are not live. No, they are extinct. They were present somewhere in the past, but now they have become the extinct. Amniotes is the example. This is all about the uh, classifications of phylum Mollusca, having seven subclasses. So seven classes, sorry, which were Aplacophora, Polyplecophora, Monoplacophora. You can look at this: no shell, Aplacophora; many plates of the shell, Polyplecophora; only one plate of the shell, Monoplacophora. So Gastropoda, Scaffopoda, Pelecypoda, and Cephalopoda are based upon the modification of the foot that we have discussed. This is all about the classification of phylum Mollusca.